Jeremy Martin's final professional race, rider injuries, and more. Welcome back to What We Learned on Friday. This is the Millville edition, is July 11th, and I am Michael Lindsay here from Vital MX as your host. And yeah, we got a few things to get into. First off, weather. It's a bit overcast. Light bit of chance of rain on the schedule. I feel like we've been saying that for weeks of nationals. Hopefully nothing comes tomorrow. I think we're good. Just shows a small percentage here and there. So I think we're good there. We are back to our normal schedule. 250s are going first, 450 second, and there is the 30-minute interval break between motos. Here we are at Millville. This is the backyard place where the Martins grew up, and it is going to be Jeremy Martin's last AMA professional motocross race. Maybe not the last professional race he ever did. We did speak to him a bit on press day. There's a good interview with him with our friend Lewis Phillips up on our YouTube channel right now. But I also spoke to Jeremy a little bit, and he did say he's not ruling out doing some other races, maybe a Canadian national, maybe some local stuff here and there. But either way, he is done with AMA professional racing as of this weekend. So you will get to see him in the 250 class again on the Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing tomorrow for one last go. And if you're here, cheer on the hometown guy. Cairoli update. Stayed out here another week. He was in the Northeast, kind of New England area at the beginning of the week. Made his way out here, got to ride a local track that's only about 2.5 miles from here. No real testing this week, just on the bike time. When I spoke to the Ducati team, to the guys from Factory Connection, to Ziggy and that whole crew that is here, they said last week his entire list of changes was 1 millimeter of fork height, 4 clicks of, I think it was shock, low speed compression, and a rebound click. That's all he touched at the beginning of the day. Didn't touch anything else. Still hasn't touched anything this week. He's really happy with the US setup, and I actually also heard that, so happy in fact, that some of what's been tested here in the US is actually going to trickle over to the GP team, it sounds like, in the next week or two. So this is the final race of Cairoli's current tenure. We knew he was going to come in and do Redbud in Millville, but actually while walking and talking with Tony this morning, he mentioned he really wants to do Budds Creek, because when he did it in 2022, he said he made it about 3 corners in, thanks to Justin Barcia. Bam Bam pulled a Bam Bam and dinged up his hand. So he really wants a shot at Budds Creek. He said he really enjoys that track back from doing Motocross of Nations at it. And I would say if Cairoli has his way, we'll get to see him race the final national of the season as well. Speaking of the Ducati effort, something we noticed last week was Justin Barcia sitting down and talking with Ziggy and Paolo from Ducati. This is not shocking to us. Justin Barcia is going to be out at the Gas Rockstar Racing operation at the end of the year, and talking to him, he is looking for something new and different. So again, we saw them talking openly when spoke to Justin about it, and yeah, he admits that's, you know, something he's hoping for, something that he is potentially trying to work out. Talking about some riders that are out, Jason Anderson is out this weekend with continued health issues. That was announced just today. We also noticed that the Quadlock Honda Semi is actually not even present here, because Savachi is going to be sitting out another weekend from his crash last weekend. Shane McElrath looks to be prepping for outdoors. He's probably going to come in and try to help his SMX point situation at some point before the season is over. And Carson Mumford kind of continues to be a little bit of an enigma, and I don't mean that harshly. The team keeps telling us every week they're thinking he'll be back in another week or two. He is also not back this weekend, after we were told last weekend he'd probably be back this weekend. So does not look like we have any quadlock Honda situation for this weekend. We ran into Michael Moseman in the pits, made the joke to him if Bobby Reagan had told him to retire anytime recently. He laughed, said no. He does not have a deal in place for next year, but he said it is definitely looking a lot better for him to stay at Star Racing. What about Prado? I feel like we always have a little bit of a Prado update. We didn't talk to anybody directly on the team. We noticed a few bike changes just on chassis, fork height, a few things to look at, so I've tested more this week. Something to note is how involved Chad Reed has gone in his program, and based on what our cohort Lewis learned last week, it sounds like Reed and then Oscar Wiederman, that is Prado's crew chief, worked with Chad at 2-2, worked for him. They've built a really good understanding, a really good working effort at club in the last 2 weeks, and basically there's a lot of communication going there. So you will see Chad present and getting very involved in Prado's program. Some riders that are back on the bike. We mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but we confirmed that pretty much all of Star Racing's 250 riders that have been out have all gone back on the bike in the last week or two. That's Bennick, Anstey, and Cole Davies. We expect to see all of them back for the final 3 nationals. The only Star 250 rider at that point we will be missing is Caden Manier. Dylan Ferrandis is also set to resume riding in the next week or two. We think we will see him at the last one, or if not the last 2 nationals of the season. That brings us to our last point, SMX points. It is getting interesting as we're winding down the 450 Pro Motocross season, because we have a few riders, notably like Benny Bloss and Mitchell Oldenburg of the Beta Racing team. They're slipping down to the bottom of the top 20 scene. They look like they'll slip out of it soon. You have riders coming through like Benoit Paturel, Cody Schock, Valentin Guillaume, all trying to make their way into the points. And depending, again, Shane McElrath, a few guys coming back, it is very likely that we'll have 3 or 4 riders, also Harry Koulos being one of them, trying to take over probably the bottom 2 spots in the points away from Oldenburg and Bloss to get into the SMX and seed themselves directly into the series. So that will be fun to watch, mostly from this weekend on, especially as we get into the final 3 races of the season. Last note is the Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing Squad is running a special livery this week, and the bikes are white and red. It is for the 70th anniversary of the Yamaha company. Of course, white and red is maybe not as prominent to the US market. It was very prominent in the Europe market. They've done the yellow in the past for some of the anniversary. We did the retro for the 50th anniversary of the YZs. This is the 70th anniversary of Yamaha. So again, both the Star Racing Squad 450 and 250 will be running that white and red. We also think they will be running it at one of the SMX races this year. If you have any thoughts or comments, throw them in down below. And as always, thanks for watching.